ain't better for the Kansas City Chiefs this offseason. They locked down their future in Patty Mahomes.
You got Jones, then Kelsey, and Mahomes signed for like half a billion. You got players on your football team buying baseball team.
I'm surrounded by baby toys. Like Patrick Mahomes is surrounded by guys who on offense are some of the best in the league.
Oh no, let the defense go. Let the defense go.
If Patty does what he does, and he has one less guy on offense.
Team buying baseball team.
Thank you.
Welcome in, everybody, to the weekly windup. You got Rum Boys, Robbie in the house. How we doing today?
Another day here in the SportsMe verse. Excited to break down some topics from our amazing creators. Make sure that you guys click the link in the description section and download the app available on iOS and Android.
Absolutely. It's going to be, these are going to be some fun videos. I, of course, am Derek from the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast. And we've got the weekly windups ready, set to rock and roll. Going to be a blast here. Some great videos here. But if you guys haven't, if you're just kind of stumbling across this broadcast and kind of watching this and going, what in the world is a SportsMe? I don't know what that is. Well, you're in luck because we're going to tell you. So right now, the SportsMe is a app which you can download. We're available on Android. We're available on the iOS there, Apple Store, Google Play Store. Get in there, download the app called SportsMe, or you can go to getsportsme.com, download the app, and basically you hop on, and it's a way for you to engage in fun sports conversations with fellow creators out there, fellow fans out there, and really get just kind of a good sense and a whole lot of fun kind of takes as far as what everybody out there is doing. So if you're not if you haven't downloaded it, you're not in the conversation, you haven't joined the conversation, you are missing out. And that's something that we never want to do. Yeah, that's the last thing we want to do. Exactly. Nobody wants to be the heavy. So, alrighty. Well, Robbie, like I said, we've had some really fun little clips and features and some of that kind of stuff on here. And there's a ton of different ways that we can go with this one, but we're going to go ahead and start with a QB mover. This comes from one of the guest hosts that we had on the SportsMe Cash Me game out there. We had Smokey Hell NFL coming to you on the SportsMe app, asking who was going to be the biggest QB mover. Let's go ahead and check that one out.
With a terrible draft class coming out in the NFL this year for quarterbacks, we're going to see a big flurry of moves in free agency and in the offseason. Now, who's going to be the biggest quarterback mover? To what team and why?
I'm going to go with Jimmy G, gorgeous Jimmy, to the Broncos.
I think the biggest name that is on the move as far as quarterbacks are concerned is Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson is definitely one. Deshaun Watson is definitely going to be up there too, pending his legal status. And somebody like Jameis Winston, maybe he goes to Pittsburgh, maybe looks pretty good there.
I'm going Russell Wilson to Denver.
Marcus Mariota in Carolina.
Okay.
So interesting ones there, Robbie. What are your thoughts here? Who's going to be the biggest QB that we see moving this offseason?
Like the low hanging fruit is going with someone like Watson, just because of the whole allegations and everything that he's going with and everything that he's dealing with. That aside, though, I've been very curious to see what happens up there in Seattle and how they blow things up there. Aaron Rodgers yesterday on Pat McAfee show said that he'll be giving us a result on his future sometime February-ish, whatever that means. Of course, obviously Devontae is a heavy factor in that equation, but those are exciting ones that I'm really looking forward to. And then obviously Jimmy Garoppolo as well.
Yeah, I think that it's interesting, right? Because you got Aaron Rodgers coming out saying that the last thing that he wants to be is part of a rebuild. And quite frankly, I don't know how in the world the Packers can keep the veterans that they've got on that team, keep the folks that they've got under contract now. Like, they are hard up against the salary cap this, going into this offseason. And they're going to have to make some serious moves in order to try and get underneath that salary cap. So I just don't know how you necessarily make those moves and get there with what they've got going on there and the contracts they already have signed, dead money that they've got going, all of those things. Like it's going to be very, very tricky there. And so maybe that's some foreshadowing on Rodgers' parts, telling us that while he may want to play, he's not going to come back for a rebuild. And
Yep.
I did find it funny too that some of the conversations going on there saying that he was going to meet with the the higher ups in the organization, things like that, and see what his come to his decision and that kind of stuff. Like
Him
it's a
having
very
respect for the organization. Oh gosh.
like very interesting to kind of think about a guy that has been your franchise quarterback for a long time there. And hey, I'm gonna talk to the GM. I'm gonna talk to these folks. I'm gonna see if I even want to come back, type of thing, and what that looks like. So it'll be interesting. And this is going to be one of those that, again, I don't think that that this is going to be near the long drawn out thing that we waited for this last offseason from him, around whether or not he's going to retire, whether or not he's going to come back, whether or not he's going to do that. Because if he really doesn't want to be part of a rebuild and all of that, you gotta let the Packers know so they can do that salary cap magic so they can do the salary cap magic if you're going to try and bring back Devontae Adams, because they're already up against the salary cap. Yep. Even without Devontae on the books there, and the fact that they're likely going to have to try and franchise tag him next year, which is going to be some very, very big dollars that are going to count against that. So they're really going to have to try and make some things happen there. So, but I did like the Jimmy G. Now, somebody the other day was trying to tell me that the Niners are going to be in a real big dilemma, and they're going to have a real hard decision to make. And several of these types of things, if the Niners go through and win the Super Bowl with Jimmy G. No, the answer doesn't get harder. It gets easier because the price tag on Jimmy G went through the roof doing that.
Yep.
How often does the Super Bowl winning quarterback come on the market for whether it's trade or free agency? It doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. I think that that it compels San Francisco to remain with Jimmy G should they win a Super Bowl with him. You might as well rock the wheels off it until it falls off. Now, the other option that San Fran is presented with is we want a Super Bowl, we're good, blow it up, like we got a ring, like it is what it is, I fully expect that it'll be the latter. I fully expect that San Fran will try their damn best to hang on to Jimmy Garoppolo.
See, I think I'm on the other side of the fence on that one, simply from the standpoint that if the Niners gave up, what was it, 3 first-round picks to go out and get Trey Lance, to move up to get Trey Lance, right? Like, if you go out there and you win a Super Bowl with Jimmy G, like, what's the likelihood that you can get 2 first-rounders back on that?
Yeah, you're not going to. Nobody's paying that for GMG bowl ring or not. Like,
but I bet you can probably get a first and something else back there, right? Like at that point you recouped a lot of your cost type of thing to get the guy that you wanted to go out there and get in that draft class anyway. And now the price tag on Trey Lance and all the draft capital spent there, if you can recoup some of those, 1 or 2 of those first round picks, like, that makes it real easy for them to move off of that, because the core of that team is not around the quarterback position.
No,
the core of that team is what Kyle Shanahan's system always has been, and it's a running team, and they've built that thing in the trenches first, and they've got a solid defense. So it's one of those I can see them easily.
It is a dilemma for San Fran, because like it's like, do we go in and do we start the year off with the young kid that we did move, we did draft, we did spend a lot to get this kid in Trey Lance, or do you kind of do the more traditional thing where it's like, you got a Super Bowl, like, so that it is a dilemma for San Fran. That situation within itself, within a whole, I don't think that San Fran, when they went to go get Trey Lance, expected that Jimmy G was going to lead them this far. Like to an NFC Championship game. Like, if you were to ask anyone in the Niners organization, they would be like, hey, all right, is the camera off? Hey, hell no, I don't think we're making it to an NFC Championship game. I think that that was probably the sentiment at the beginning of the season, and now that Jimmy G was effective, got him to this point, to an NFC Championship game. It makes it hard to like move on,
Right. And it's one of those that we always talk about, the fact that like winning percentage, things like that, is not a quarterback stat. It's not like baseball type
No,
of
yeah.
thing where, but it is always interesting to look at some of these things here too. Jimmy G, as far as games he has started and games he has played in, has won 70%. That team has won 70% of the games that he has started as an NFL quarterback. Like, that is a ridiculous type of winning percentage. And a lot of that has to speak to the fact of, how he goes out there and does things, right? He doesn't turn over the ball. He completes a high percentage of his passes, keeps the chains moving, things like that. Like, there's a lot of teams out there in the NFL right now that if you could put a guy like that in place with their defenses that they have in tow, like, they could be a contender.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Pang's Picks sat there and said it that Jimmy G heading to Denver. Like, Denver's a team that if you can put a quarterback in place that's not going to turn over the ball, will have the ability to drive the ball down the field, can run the offense a little bit. That defense has been a top 5 defense for a couple of years in a row now. Like, and they're still got that young, good core there. So like, that could be an interesting deal there. But as a Broncos fan, I'm hoping that he doesn't come here and we make a bigger splash in the offseason at the quarterback position.
Everyone wants the big splash for their team because like that's usually like the quick fix.
Mm-hmm.
Me being a Washington fan, just give me the guy that gets us to the championship. I don't care. He could be the most mediocre person ever. Like, I don't care. Get us a guy that gets us to the championship.
Did I just hear you rooting for Jimmy G to go to the Washington football team?
I wouldn't mind it. I'm not going to complain. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Like, I'm
Fair
not going
enough.
to complain.
Yeah, no, I want a bigger splash there just because that Denver's window is rapidly closing with their defense and what they've got there. Like, they're a quarterback away, in my opinion. So if they could figure that one out, it could be some big things there. But that actually leads us to the next video here. And the next video was one that For Whom J Bell Tolls asked on one of the Cash Games when he was doing the guest host on the Cash Games show, and has to do about elite quarterback play. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
This is Jeff Bell, For Whom J Bell Tolls, and I am here with your SportsMe Cash Game. My question is, do you need an elite quarterback to win the Super Bowl, or are you able to win it with a quarterback like Jimmy Garoppolo?
I don't necessarily think you need an elite quarterback to win a Super Bowl, but it certainly helps.
I think an elite defense and elite coaching staff is more important than an elite quarterback to win the Super Bowl.
I'm going to say no, you do not need an elite quarterback to play. And we can go back to 2012, 2013, Joe Flacco.
You just need a quarterback that's not going to turn the ball over and is able to put him in good position.
Elite quarterbacks are like running shoes. You don't need them to go running, but it sure fucking helps.
You want a quarterback, ideally, that's really good and that doesn't charge you $45 million a year, because it's really, really hard to win if your quarterback is taking up like a quarter of your cap space.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I feel like that this question, kind of answers itself. And a lot of the sportsman personalities did really well themselves. First off, shout out to Jeff, Mr. For Whom the Bell Tolls, for signing with the football guys. Big ups, Jeff. That's a huge move. But with that aside, was Nick Foles elite? No. Like, was Trent Dilfer elite? No. Like,
Brad Johnson.
Yeah, Brad Johnson. Like,
Joe
Flacco. Like, hell, I'll put Doug Williams was not elite. But
Peyton Manning wasn't elite his last Super Bowl that he won.
He wasn't elite his last Super Bowl, but he was elite. So that's why I'm not going there. But like you look at a multitude of quarterbacks that you look at a multitude of quarterbacks that didn't have a big name, didn't have like a huge legacy, that won Super Bowls, that aren't in the Hall of Fame, so on and so forth. Like, you don't need an elite quarterback. Like,
No, I don't think you do either, right? Like, And actually, the formula in the NFL, if you want to win a Super Bowl, it's actually a repeatable formula that we've seen play out time and time and time again. If you know, if your name's not Tom Brady at the quarterback position, a team needs to go out and get themselves a good young quarterback on typically their rookie deal because the cost is not near as high. Get yourself a rookie quarterback on, or get your quarterback on that rookie contract. Put together an astounding defense, top 10 type of defense in the league. Put together a good offensive scheme for that young QB to run efficiently, and go out there and that's the formula typically that it takes to win, because of the fact that you don't have so much of your salary cap tied to one positional player out there, one quarterback, and you're able to spend that difference on that in places like your defense, in places like your offensive line, in places like some of your skill positions on the offensive side of the ball. Like, you want to win a Super Bowl, that's the formula. Find your quarterback that can manage the game well and really get yourself an elite defense. That's really where we've seen these things win lately, is elite defenses going out there winning the games with an offense that can put points on the board and not turn the ball over. Like, that's the secret to winning the old Super Bowl these days. It's not necessarily that you need a great quarterback. Kevin, one of the guys on one of the good old boys on our show last night, made a very interesting point, and he wasn't referencing this, but we were having a different discussion, but made the reference and made the point here that it was the Green Bay Packers have had 30 plus years of Hall of Fame quarterback play and have 2 Super Bowls to show for it.
2 Super Bowls to show for it. Exactly.
Like, they've made it to the Super Bowl 2 more times, but they've only won 2 Super Bowls with back-to-back Hall of Fame careers at the quarterback position. Like, that
Rodgers and Favre.
Yeah, and both of those guys, right? Like, Aaron Rodgers has won several MVPs throughout this, still playing at MVP level caliber. Brett Favre was a multi-time MVP award winner at the position as well. Like, they got elite quarterback play for 30 plus years and have only managed to win 2 titles. So that speaks to, I think that makes the case for this one as well.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
I like it. So one of the other things that we've been doing out there as well is featuring some of our different creators, things like that. And so one of the guys that we featured last Thursday was old Bo McBig Time. And always, Bo, every time that he hops on there, always cracks me up. Like, I always thoroughly enjoy Bo's take. In fact, we saw him do one of those last ones that, you don't need running shoes to go running.
Yeah.
But
it
it helps. And always cracks me up. So let's go ahead and take a look at Bo's feature here on the SportsMe.
I'd buy the San Francisco Giants. I'd probably be able to afford a house in the Bay Area then. That'd be nice. I'd be able to go to Oracle every single night, watch the ball game at the best ballpark in Major League Baseball. Yeah, nothing better. Giants baseball on the downtown San Francisco is unmistakably awesome.
Bo, I like you more every day. That's such a great answer.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
If you could buy one professional franchise, what would it be?
I'd buy my San Diego Padres, of course.
So my first instinct is Houston Texans. They're my favorite football team, and get Cal McNair out of there.
And as for which franchise I would buy, originally I thought, hey, I would buy the Dallas Cowboys and run that team into the ground as a meme. But then I realized that I would not be able to do a better job of disappointing Cowboys fans than current ownership. So
Savage.
I think you enjoyed that cutout there, though.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell?
You're welcome. Our video editor got a little creative there.
I like that. So if I could buy one team, we all know like I'm really heavy into marketing. Washington's already going through like a rebrand, a retooling, of everything. So like, I'm not gonna buy one of my own favorite teams. Normally, when this question has been brought up, I would have said Cincinnati because small market, yada yada yada. Like I could turn that team around. But right now, they're getting a buzz. They're about to get a shit ton of bandwagon fans. The Chargers, on the other hand, are in probably the biggest, most populated city in fucking America and still cannot fill out a stadium in powder blue. I would love to take over that team, buy that team, bring in the right pieces and the right players to get this team to a Super Bowl. And I want to be known as a guy that like made them like how like there wasn't a whole lot of Seattle fans a couple of years ago, but then all of a sudden like they won a Super Bowl and you had all these fucking Seattle fans crawling out from the sewers and just everywhere. Like all of a sudden everyone loved Russell Wilson. Like chicks love Russell Wilson because he's with Sierra, like just everything. Like I want to build a team to where the fans I want to build a team where fans leave the team that they are already currently rooting for and now jump ship to become a fan of this team. I want to make a team that's so good and go on a couple of dynasty runs. Like you have no choice but to love the Chargers at some point. Like I want to be known as a dude that just completely 180 from a business standpoint or completely 360 from a business standpoint, like turns the team like completely around.
When you look at it, the Chargers are in that formula that we just talked about in that last segment on, what does it take to win a Super Bowl? Well, you've got to have a young, good quarterback on his rookie deal. Check. You've got to have dynamic playmakers on offense. Oh, you've got guys like Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler. Check, check. You've got to have a good defense and great defensive players. Well, they've got a lot of pieces on that defense, and they're one or two pieces away there on that defense from it being an elite level type of defense. And oh, by the way, they've got a defensive minded head coach there as well that did some spectacular things as a defensive coordinator before he got promoted to a head coach. So I like what you're talking about. Like they are in that window there to be able to maximize what their salary cap can provide, things like that. And they're also their home stadium is that brand new gorgeous SoFi arena that while they didn't necessarily build it and their owner doesn't necessarily, own that stadium, they get to play every home game there. And oh, by the way, the Super Bowl is taking place in that stadium here too in a couple of weeks. So it'll be very interesting to see. I like that one. I like that move a lot.
Yeah.
For me, it would be more of a case that I'd go with the hometown Denver Nuggets here. I think like one of those that would be a team that one of my favorites there. It's the hometown team, right? Like want to be able to see them get over the hump and finally win a NBA championship, right? Like they were really good in the ABA way back in the 70s, but that ship has not come to fruition here in the NBA. And they've put together some good teams and they've put together some runs there, but they just haven't been able to pull it all together. And so that would be one that I'd like to do to see if I couldn't try and help put them over the hump on what we need to do there. So,
and then just to kind of like I like you because you kind of went with the standpoint that I went with, where it's like no, like bring them one, right? Just get them one, type situation. But if I wanted to think with my pockets, owning a soccer team, a international soccer team, that would line up that line of my pockets pretty freaking nice, just because of attendance, jersey sales, the ticket, the sticker sales, like the entities. I think like Tottenham is like their stadium is like all like electric payments, so like soccer has like the money to where if I just want to think about my pockets, I'd buy a soccer team.
Fair enough. See, I think Ted Lasso knows more about soccer than I do, so I'm gonna shy away from going with the soccer, or as they call it internationally, football.
But you're buying the team. All you're doing is buying, owning it, and making money off of it. Like
yeah, but
you don't
also
have to do anything.
True, but I know me. I'd be the Jerry Jones type of owner where I'm gonna be in there, wanting to be involved in decisions and yada yada yada, right? Like, so that's just how I would roll. I know myself.
If I don't have to, and I can just sit back and get rich, fuck it, go buy that $20 Pepsi.
Well, here's the thing: you were already rich because you bought
I bought a team,
a sports franchise. Like,
but rich people always want to get richer; they're greedy.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Right when but I like it. I'm still laughing and giggling a little bit about Derek's answer there on that one where I thought by the Dallas Cowboys on that one, and unfortunately from what I've seen out there, the conversation with a lot of folks where they're talking, they're talking Sean Payton and how long before he's the Dallas Cowboys head coach.
Yo,
ain't happening, folks. Like, you can just start the disappointment train there. Like, it's not happening. I think he's still under contract with the Saints for 2 more years. So ain't gonna happen there, but keep hoping, I guess. So, we talked a lot there about, the ownership and being in the, in the driver's seat from owning the franchise. But there are a lot of folks out there that put in the nitty gritty work to put together those rosters and put together the organization to go out there and compete. And that's going to be the GM role and how that looks. And so we asked the question out there on for an NFL, like it was a GM challenge type of thing. You had to put together a little bit of roster here, and let's go ahead and play the video. Today's cash game, we're going to stay with the NFL, and you have to pick one player to start a franchise with. Build the team around, that's your franchise player. But on top of that, you also have to pick a coach to head coach that thing as well. So play GM today, pick your franchise player, pick your head coach. Tell us why you're pairing them together.
I'm going to go with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I usually like to follow the mantra, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Justin Herbert, in my opinion. And as far as a coach, I would probably go with Mike Tomlin.
Brady Belichick, 2 GOATs. There it is.
Super Dave. Tom Brady at this age? You want to start your franchise around Tom Brady at this age? Come on.
So I'm going to go with Justin Herbert, one of the better young quarterbacks at this point in time, and Sean Payton.
Sean McVay and Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, the player is obviously Patrick Mahomes, but as a coach, Kyle Shanahan.
I'm going to go with Kyle Shanahan, one of the best minds in the run game, and then I'm going to get the best running back in the league, Derrick Henry.
It's not bad. Not a bad call.
That's not bad, and that's actually really smart. That's actually really, really smart.
But if I'm starting my franchise, I don't want to start my franchise around a 27, 28-year-old running back coming off of an injury, right? Like that was one of those that game on Sunday, what could be with Derrick Henry was greater than what actually happened with Derrick Henry. Like, the threat of him was enough to scare the Bengals more so than him actually running the ball. So, we'll see what happens. He'll have an offseason to get healthy and get back into it. But there's a lot of mileage on those tires there at this point in his career, and he's already defined what the trend is for running backs. Like, this is the time where we start to see them go downhill, and I don't know that we
still a beast. Yeah.
So Jonathan Taylor actually might be the better way to go if you're going to go with a running back there, right? Like, built kind of like a Derrick Henry, has slightly better hands than Derrick Henry. And has a similar gameplay. Like, I could see that one happening.
Yeah, I like that. Gosh. So, like, the former football player in me, like the former athlete in me, wants to show bias towards the positions that I play, which is corner and receiver. But the analyst in me, the fantasy analyst in me, is like, all right, you need to fucking be smart at it. You need to lock down like a QB. Like if we're gonna put it in our GM cap, we want to try and lock that down and get that. If we're just thinking about skill positions,
you could pick anybody out there. Everybody went quarterback or running back there, but if you could pick anybody, either side of the ball,
I'll stick with the skill positions, and I'll go with give me Herbert and McVay together.
I can see that.
Herbert and McVay together. Like, that would get dangerous. Or either Burrow and McVay together. Oh yeah, like, give me Burrow and McVay. Like, yeah. I'm such a Burrow fan. Like injury aside, I know like everything like the cases that you're gonna make about the injury, but I don't care.
It was a one-time injury, right? Like, this isn't this hasn't been an ongoing thing. This hasn't been like that. Like, and with the NFL, like, let's face it, you're injury prone until you're not.
No, exactly.
Like, that's the way it is, right? Like,
everyone's injury prone. Yeah.
Or you're not injury prone until you are. Like, there's such a pendulum swing on that one, right? Like, Derrick Henry this past year, like, coming into it, he doesn't miss games. He's a beast. He can defy the laws of football, so to speak, on this thing. And, he can get a workload like nobody else. He ended up getting injured, right? Like, it happens. And they're not predictable. They're not, anything like that. Same thing with Matt Stafford for a long time in his career was considered injury prone until he wasn't, and then went on to years of playing every game to it, right? Like it happens where guys just get injured, things like that. And something like with the Joe Burrow injury there, where it's a specific injury that happened, things like that. It's repaired, gone through. You've seen him play an entire season, like not worried about it.
Yeah.
Not worried about it anymore, right? Like, and not only that, like Joe Burrow wasn't drafted because of his wheels, right? He was drafted because of how he can read the defense and how he throws the ball. So, being a pocket passer, that injury again doesn't worry me at all. For me, this was a tough one because I kind of want to lean towards that mantra of I can get a young quarterback, I can get a game manager that will allow me to spend in other places, right? So like maybe I go out and I get one of the best defensive guys or one of the best linemen out there as well, right? Like not a lot's given to the fact that it doesn't matter how great your quarterback is if you
ain't got a line,
right? Like I think we can all agree that Patrick Mahomes is the greatest or one of the greatest quarterbacks in the league as far as a skill set at this particular time and juncture, right? Like, and that would be a lot of folks' first pick on that one.
So sometimes it could get a little ugly, but when Mahomes is on, he's on.
Right. But even when he's making dynamic plays and things like that, we saw what happens when when the line cannot get in front of the defense and can't slow down a pass rush, a la the Super Bowl last year. Like that was just plain ugly. Watching that one from a quarterback play on that side of the ball. And it wasn't his fault. It was the fact that he had zero time to make any progressions and make any reads and actually deliver the ball there. So I like a guy kind of like an Aaron Donald type, right? Like you're talking about a dude that is a 3-time defensive player of the year. Very few guys have done that in NFL history. Is a guy that can plug up, like you've got to double team him in the middle and he can still get through it and be a pass rushing threat through from a defensive tackle through the middle of that line there. Like he's a game wrecker and a game changer there. So I think I kind of like that move there. And then being able to build a defense around that, being able to build an offense around that as well. So that'd probably be the way that I'd roll, just to, be a little bit different too than everybody else there. Take the contrarian view.
I like it. No, I really like that. Defense wins championships. And again, it's just one coach and one player that we're talking about starting a team with. Lord knows what the rest of the team is going to look like as you continue drafting and you continue, free agency, stuff like that. So like I like that. I like that as a starting piece. You need a good defense, you need a solid defense. Edge rushers are not a dime a dozen, not at that caliber, not at that level. So yeah,
Right.
worth it.
Yeah, I'd probably go with an offensive-minded coach to pair that as well. Put them in charge of the offensive side of the ball and really hire just a good coordinator on that deal as well. So, offensive-minded coaches, I'd go with a young guy like a Mike LaFleur, Matt LaFleur, kind of like that one there. Was not one that many people mentioned, but goes out there and just wins, right? Like as a head coach, has yet to have less than 13 wins as a head coach there. Sean McVay, we've seen what he's been able to do a couple of times. Kyle Shanahan would be another guy there as well, right? From the standpoint that if I'm going to play defense, I'm going to build an elite defensive team. Well, I'm better off getting a coach that understands the run game and can put in that zone type of run scheme where we can see several different running backs succeed in that one. And that's how I'll win games is I shut people down on the defensive side of the ball and control the offensive side of it. And I just need to put up some points. Don't necessarily need a barn burner score every single game and get into some shootouts there. So that'd be how I'd probably roll that one. So
I like it.
Yeah. Well, Robbie, I think that's going to take us down here to the end of it. Any final thoughts out there for the viewers and listeners?
Download the app. Download the SportsMe app. If you are looking for a platform or a place where you can easily access some of the greatest and brightest minds in the world of sports, for whether it's for advice, you're trying to put together parlays, or you want betting advice, or fantasy advice, DFS lineups, whether it's NFL, NBA, whatever, this is the platform for you. If you just want to, you've always just had that thought in your head where it's like, man, I really want to be on First Take, and without you having a freaking communications broadcasting degree, you're not getting anywhere close to the set. Well, this is the place where you now get to kind of have that atmosphere where you're able to kind of share differentiating opinions go back and forth, debate, so on and so forth. Get on over there, download the app. Link is in the description. Show us some love. We'll catch you on the app.
Absolutely. Hop over there. Start a conversation with Robbie, start a conversation with me, start a conversation with any of the guys that you just saw featured here today. But the first step, download the app like Robbie was just saying. He's Robbie. I'm Derek. Have a good one. Be safe.